Oh, what's good, y'all?
Hello, hello. Welcome back to Dreamhouse TV. I am your host, Dream. Of course, you already know who I am. But I am on a Zoom meeting with an amazing, incredible woman. I would actually give her the chance to introduce herself, who she is, and exactly what it is that she do. So by all means, please take over. Take over.
All right. Well, thank you for having me, Ray, from Dreamhouse TV. My name is Sharika Mahdi. I am a local, actually, I'm an artist. I'm a visual artist from New Orleans, Louisiana. I'm also a talented art teacher. I teach 6th through 8th grade at 2 middle schools in Louisiana. And I'm happy to be here and just so happy to be here.
Right. I know. It is exciting. Like I'm trying to keep my composure as well as for not being too excited, that type of thing. Right. But I mean, hey, let's get into it. Like as for you being into the art, as for drawing wise, what actually pushed you to do that?
As far as visual art, is well, when we think about my experience and my whole life as far as being into the art, visual art aspect of it, it started basically when I was young, very,
Hmm.
very young. I would draw all the time. Anytime I would get, like on Sundays, we would go to my grandmother, my me house on Sundays, and I would play sometimes, but a lot of times, if you had a piece of paper, a pencil, I would draw. I would make handmade cards for my grandmother for Mother's Day. I would do it for my own mom. Any opportunity for me to use my hands and to create was something I always did from as young as 6, 7 years old. And then,
Hmm.
art was always creating something, was always part of my life. And up from 6 up until now in different ways, whatever. So it's a lot. So we'll break it down.
Right. Yeah. I'm knowing. So I mean, as for you getting into the art, where did you first start off? As for this is exactly what you wanted to do.
Well, it kind of molded and transferred in different ways because, like I was saying, when I spoke to you earlier, in high school, it was always, it was two sides. There was the girl that made straight A's or did good in school academically,
Right.
and that was the freestyle artistic side to myself. So I was always
Mhm.
going back and forth. And it was until I got into high school, I really, really started to notice and really appreciate the talent that I had.
Right.
Thanks to the program at the school, high school at the time, which it was Ellie Rob Wayne. It was a vocational high school. They had commercial art program, but also an organization called Yaya. It stands for Young Aspirations, Young Artists. It was actually formed in my high school years. So I had another opportunity, unique opportunity of not only, doing well in school, but also being able to create art and sell art for the first time while in
Right.
high. So that world exposed me to painting techniques, woodworking. Being somebody from New Orleans, there was a small group of us that was in the organization. A lot of us never never went anywhere past the South or Louisiana. So to be able to
Mhm.
travel abroad with this group, like right out of high school, was amazing. And just to see the world outside of New Orleans was life changing for a lot of us, especially me.
Look, right. Yeah, I'm from home in Louisiana, so it's not too far from New Orleans. So it's just like good
Yeah,
30 minutes.
yeah,
Depending on how you drive, you probably can get there in 20 minutes. but
yes, yes.
but yeah. But just going out there also as well. But I pretty much just went out there for partying wise, like Bourbon Street. Hey, nothing like Bourbon Street. Okay, so when you want to go out and actually party in New Orleans, make sure you hit up some of the hot spots at the Bourbon Street. You can find everything. One
Yeah.
stop shop from the food to the alcohol to if you want to go to different clubs, they have all of that on the
Yeah,
strip. All of that on the strip. Right,
yeah.
right. So I mean, growing up there, like, how was it?
Growing
And
up
still
was
being there now.
Yeah, growing up in New Orleans, it was a very unique experience, I think, for me
Mm.
and my family and my siblings and mom and dad, because we grew up in a very religious type of situation where we had a kind of a Muslim background. So a lot of
Mhm.
the things that a lot of other youth might have experienced being from New Orleans very young, me being the oldest, I didn't get a chance to experience because of those religious aspects. And so,
Mhm.
like, my first time in the French Quarter was actually in high school. My mom worked in the CBD, and so I would get if I didn't catch the bus, we would ride with me and my brother would ride with my mom to high school. So I would
Mhm.
get a she would drive through the quarters actually to drive us to school or whatever. So that was my first time really actually being in the French Quarter. But just being immersed in the city like that in high school, walking down Canal Street after school and walking past the French Quarter almost every day to get on the bus, Desire bus, to go to our house in the Ninth Ward, that to me was eye-opening for me. And it made me appreciate the city, but of course the festivals, Mardi Gras stuff I had a chance to experience much later because of all those, religious aspects. I experienced a lot of the stuff later than maybe my younger sisters or whatever, because when I was growing up, at being the oldest, they were very, very much into their religion. So there's a lot of things I could not experience, but I would hear the stories. My mom would tell me stories of Mardi Gras, how that was her favorite holiday, how the last day she would get depressed. Like Mardi Gras evening, she would get depressed because she knew that was the last day of Mardi Gras. Stuff
Right.
like that you hear about, and just, of course, the food, right? Obviously, the food. Obviously the music, obviously the second lining, all those things, we had that a lot of cities and a lot of areas around the world just did not have. Even though we had a very I had a very restricted family at some times, I still experienced it though. I still was able to feel a lot of the vibe of New Orleans because I was right there. I lived there in the city, so you couldn't escape it. It didn't matter. You didn't
Right.
escape the vibe of New Orleans. You had family, right? We had family.
Right.
Go celebrate Christmas at my grandmother's house. Even though we didn't have a Christmas tree, my grandmother did. So we would go there
Right.
and get gifts. So we had a mutual respect about that. At the same time, we appreciated those things as well. It helped us feel the vibe of the city and the culture.
Right. Yeah, I get where you're coming from that, because that's myself. I'm a preacher's kid, so I missed a whole lot, like coming up, as for like the music, and wasn't able to go to certain parties. Also, it was certain sports as well that they didn't allow us to play because of I was what they call it, Pentecostal. So only thing we was able to really wear was like the long skirts.
Yeah,
I'm
I had to wear
right.
dress with pants, and my peers, my classmates in third and fourth grade would pick on me because I wore dress with pants. Now that's like the style. You wear long shirts with pants. Well, no big thing. But back then it was a big thing. I had to tell them because my religion, couldn't eat pork, couldn't eat a lot of the food in the cafeteria. It was a lot of that going on, a lot of those restrictions, which made it a bit of a challenge from a young person, especially somebody like myself that was very inquisitive, that was very visual, and I just wanted to experience a lot of things. I couldn't do the Easter bunny, although I did sneak and get an Easter bunny when I was in second grade, and I brought it home. My mama found out I hid it behind the toilet or something I did, and she found out I brought the Easter bunny, and I got a little whooping, because I had the Easter bunny,
Right.
I had Easter bunny, but that's before Tahira time, so yes, I got to go for the Easter bunny, but I was a little greedy, I wanted some of the candy.
Look, right.
I didn't care.
Right. I thought they made it in the bunny, right? It's chocolate. It's just chocolate.
Nobody talks about the religious kid that wasn't Christian that grew up in America. Like when it came down to Christmas, the Christmas carol, I was the loudest one in the classroom. I sang those Christmas carols. You swear to God, I was in the church, but Mama knew that. She know now. If she knew that, she'd be like, "What in the world?" But I sang those Christmas carols. I knew all the words, all the lines. I was gone. No doggone well, I didn't celebrate Christmas, but I did what I had to do.
Right. It was like for the moment though, you had the chance to be a part of, the class. Like, hey, they know this at school, so you can't blame me for it, okay?
And I just like performance. I love the arts. Like I love being anything where I can be creative and use my talent. As a kid, you don't care. You find ways to use that talent sometimes.
Right. And like we was talking about earlier as well, like like if you could tell your younger self, give your younger self advice from when you first started drawing to now, what would it be?
Just let go of doubt and fear, and try not to procrastinate so much. Time is precious, and don't stay out your head, like and just try not to doubt your abilities so much, which causes that fear and apprehension. It causes you to stifle your growth. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to really, really remain positive, remain steadfast, and just have a vision That's another thing too. Have a vision for yourself, even at a young age, so you have a guide map. Because if you don't know where you're going to make more mistakes. Going in blindly, even as a young person, could sometimes be stifling. But have a direction, and really have a clear vision. I don't think I had that clear. I had a vision for what I wanted to do, but it was never really it wasn't clear. It was kind of always vague because I could do a lot of different things.
Right.
I had the book knowledge and the creativity, so I was always fuzzy, going back and forth trying to figure out what I want to do. So that's what I'll tell myself: be patient, love yourself more, and be a little more confident in your talent.
Right. So I mean, even when it comes down to like for the art, like you said, you would tell yourself don't procrastinate, that type of stuff. Like, hey, don't waste time. Like yeah, you're gonna try to figure out exactly where you want to go. And it's gonna take time because you're so talented. And so you just don't know which way to go. Like you don't know if you want to sing, you don't know if you want to act, you don't know if you want to just like do like with the arts as for painting wise. Yeah, so I mean, you not giving up, where have it brought you now? Like where are you now of your career?
Well, I think I'm at a great pinnacle. I'm at like one of the pinnacles of, it's like a culmination of all the stuff I put in, all that sweat equity, all that karma, whatever. Like where I'm at today is a direct result of me staying steadfast and not giving up, regardless of the doubt, regardless of the fears, regardless of the issues and personal life stuff, all that stuff, that my eyes stayed on the prize. And that prize, while it was always fuzzy, was to be a creative, was to use my talent. And that's one thing that I'm proud of myself for, is that I was able to at least maintain that desire to create. Because you could lose that. You go through life and you're just like, oh, yeah, I don't want to get to that. That's not doing nothing for me. I don't want to do it. I give up. Let me just do the right thing and go get a real job or do something else totally different because of the money. It was always, I wanted to always do something that had to do with me using my talent, my God-given talent to draw, design, create. So that remains.
Yes. So let's talk about it. Essence Festival. A chance of actually being able to sell some of your paintings there. And you have some new projects that's coming up as well, which I'll let you get into it. Because I'm excited about the whole thing. Okay, I'm still excited. Right. So it's just like, hey, like, so let them know like any projects that you have coming out, what they can look forward to.
Yeah, so basically, going back to Essence Music Festival, when I stayed in Georgia for a while, I was there for almost 8 years, and I moved back to Louisiana. And backtrack, I was working in the corporate world, worked in hair and fashion and all that stuff in the beauty industry while I was in Georgia. But what I learned is working in beauty and fashion and all that stuff. I worked with hair designers and makeup artists. It was creative, it was art, and I was drawn to what they were doing, and it inspired me to do work again. So I started experimenting with the paints and stuff, and I did several pieces. For instance, Bronner Brothers, they actually have several of my pieces, I believe, still on their walls at their corporate headquarters. The series was called Hair Showgirls. So I did my first series of paintings of hairstylists doing hair, of just models, things that I had seen at the shows. And so people were like, oh my God, you got all this talent, girl. You need to be, why are you working here? What you working here for? So that kind of pumped me up, right? It got me going. And so I started painting more and more and more. And so that's when I really, this was way back, early 2000s, when I started to realize that, yeah, I had put it on the back burner to pursue a career, that I still had that in me. So the fire was starting to be lit back then, but each year that would progress, it would get brighter and brighter, because I would do more and more. And I had my first booth at the Bronner Brothers Hair Show in 2003. And it was me. I was there. My brother was there. It was in 2003. And to see people react to my work, other than when I was in Yaya, we had shows, but I was so much younger then. I wasn't as evolved as I was at that point. So to see everything come together, my little effort to do my paintings and stuff, and see people come around and give me compliments, that motivated even more in myself. So this is something I need to really do and really, really take. So I just continued to paint. I continued to paint, but I continued to work. Wasn't happy with the work I was doing outside of painting. And in
Mhm.
2007, I decided to quit, take a leap of faith, and work as an artist and become an artist. Didn't have any clue, anything in my toolbox. Internet was bare, it was out, but it wasn't. There was no MySpace was kind of getting started. Remember MySpace?
Yes.
It wasn't TikTok. It was none of that social media. You had an iPod. Remember the iPod? Everything was brand new, so I didn't have a framework, but I
Mhm.
knew that something was calling me. I didn't know what the calling was, but I knew where I was working in offices was not where I belonged. So I took a leap of faith in 2007, moved to New Orleans in 2009, had my first booth at Essence Music Festival at the Marketplace, and it just kept going from there. Just kept going.
Right, right. Do you think that technology now is blocking out most of the talent that the kids can actually, figure out that they have?
I think it's actually encouraging them more to. There's a lot of talent now. You have more access to showcasing your talent. One of the, we talked about the downside and upside of technology. I truly believe, us, our generation not having all that technology allowed us to look at fun differently. We had fun differently. We played outside. We did things. We really, really took the time to connect in person, right? The good
Right.
thing about technology, though, if there was technology, I know that I probably would have done more work and I would have been seen by more people. I probably would have got more exposure outside of my own neighborhood, outside
Mhm.
of my state. So there is an opportunity to show people from other areas of the world how you create what you create on your phone, like through TikTok, through
Right.
Instagram. So you get more exposure. I think so. That's why, the younger generation, they're they're blessed. They have this tool, but at the same time, it's a curse as well because
Mhm.
you're locked into this phone and you're not able to really interact like you need to, you know,
Mhm.
to make yourself well rounded. So that's some of that you have to constantly balance. I think young people have a lot to balance.
Look, right, right. Because look, for us growing up, okay, we was outside. When I say outside, we outside, okay? We outside having water fights. We outside playing tag, you're it. We outside playing hide, go seek. Like, we
That
are
it,
outside. See what I'm saying? Right, right. And we was outside actually, you know what I'm saying, like being sociable with other people other than just, on the phone. Like nowadays, the cell phone come into it to where the kids don't even go into their parents' room no more. They
they're not
text them.
connected. They're not connected. Yes.
Exactly, exactly. So that's like kind of blocking a whole lot of like one-on-one time, like you said, like actually being able to what I'm saying, like socialize with somebody else, face to face kind of thing. So yeah, I feel like that should be more of what we could do today. Besides, because COVID cut that off a whole lot as well, and then
Yes.
plus the that's cutting that off a whole lot as well too. So it's just like now that's pretty much all we have is the cellular device to stay connected with one another. So it has its ups and downs. I'll
Yeah.
say that ups
Yeah.
and downs,
Yeah.
right?
Keep.
So as
Yeah.
for you being an art teacher, like what kind of kids have you came across? What kind of advice did you have to give some in order for them to not want to?
Well, I try to tell kids, of course, to stay positive. That's my mantra. Stay positive about your work, but also about the creative process because the kids are bombarded with a lot of negativity. I find that middle school students, like I told you, middle school is a tough grade level to really tackle. You could teach middle school students. You pretty much could teach pretty much any grade level or any level because they're at that stage where they're in between childhood and adulthood and their bodies are changing, their voices are changing, they have peer pressure. So that you trying to get them to cooperate and learn when their bodies are changing and they're constantly, looking at it, and everything and impressing each other and all this kind of stuff. So I try to teach them balance, staying positive, and really, really appreciating the artistic creative process. And don't let your mistakes become the barometer of how you look at the entire process because sometimes I understand in the world of digital media there's this tendency to want to be perfect, get it right the first time. And I said
Mhm.
sometimes you got to do it over and over again, draw it again, do a couple of sketches. Rome wasn't built in a day. Do it again.
Right.
Trust the process. Trust the process. I'm constantly telling my students, trust the process and try to be as positive as you can. Trust me, we're our worst critic. I'm my worst critic of my own work. I understand how it feels to not be where you want to be, but to make
Mhm.
sure, not to be so negative in your mind and not to display such negativity. So I really try to encourage my students that, because that's really important for learning. And also just making sure that I'm kind to them, that I'm understanding, and very, very patient. Because baby, they will test you. Woo! They will test you. I've learned how to be more patient. I've learned a little better how to anger management, how to deal with when you're irritated or somebody's testing you, because they will test you, and understand in those moments how to rise above those moments and show them love despite their attitude. Because at the end of the day, they're going to appreciate you for being kind to them, because like, we don't know what they're going through at home. We don't know if
Right.
some don't have lack of food, lack of nourishment. There's maybe some abuse happening, whether it's sexual, physical abuse, emotional abuse. So they're coming at you with all this baggage. And so some days they're not going to be on their A game, and they may not want to perform. So my job is to be like, look, if you're not feeling well, let's have a conversation. Pull you
Right.
aside. Let's say, and I'll give you a break. But have the conversation with your kids. Try to establish a relationship. I don't have a lot of kids, so I'm thankful for that. But I do have to nurture the relationship I have, because for some kids, I'm all they have as far as that positive reinforcement. Me and another couple of other teachers, maybe,
Right.
So, but I
Right.
think it's a very rewarding experience. I'm glad, even I started teaching later than the average, but I'm very, very thankful, and I enjoy teaching young people.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially when you talk about the age frame, because look, we all know once they get down to when they get to them teens and up, that is it. So it's good to like you said, it's good to what I'm saying, to be in the middle of it. Well, I don't know. Yeah, you
No,
strong. You strong.
a lot of people don't have patience for it. It's one of those grade levels you either want to do it or you don't like it. You stay away from it. You stay with the babies or you stay with the high school, whatever. But yeah, that's a tough one. But I enjoy teaching my subject matter, art. I like that more than anything. So to be able to do and tell them and show them and give them examples of what I've learned as a professional artist, pass that knowledge to them. I'm not just an art teacher that just knows about art. I actually have real world working experience that I can show you. This process is going to work. Why? Because I'm working on a project now, and this is what the director wants me to do. So I'm giving you real world experience. So to be able to carry that on and pass that down to these young people is rewarding to me. Very, very rewarding. They get to see someone that's actually doing it.
Yeah, and a lot of people can relate to that too, because it's like, nah, like I hear what you're saying, but I'm actually seeing how she's doing it, how she's going about it. Like, what I'm saying? Like a whole lot of people like to sit back and like actually see the growth. Like, okay, I know how how they started off. But now look how they going now. So it's just like the whole process, like you said, of seeing the growth of them going from one step to the next step. So I mean, I also looked and saw that you did like the Saints football painting. I saw that as well. But you also have another big project that's actually coming out. I want you to talk about it.
Oh yeah. Back to the Saints football. That was in, like I said, Yaya. I'm gonna go back to Yaya, because Yaya, like I can't detach from Yaya. You know what I'm saying? Yaya is something special to me, because I was in it in the beginning in the '90s, and I've always had some type of role, whether it was directly or indirectly. Right now, I'm on the board of directors. I was outreach director in the past. I kind of was an alumni that's always present when they need me, stuff like that. So I have a special place in my heart for the organization, for its mission to inspire young people. Once again, inspiring young people is what I do anyway. So being that I am part of the alumni at Yaya, and they're seeing my work and stuff over the years, they have my works either in photograph or on the website. So what happened was, about a couple of years ago, I got an email through my website at the time, and I thought it was spam. I had to read it a couple of times. It was from a woman that worked for Disney Imagineering Studio. She said she liked my work and she wanted to talk to me. And when I looked down further in the email, I had, I believe it was something. It was a reference to Yaya. And so in that moment, I was like, okay, this might be legit. Like, what? So I actually, took a little pause and I responded back to her, and she told me that we set up a phone call. We had a phone call. And so I think it was a few days later or later that week, got on the phone with her, and she told me that they actually worked with Yaya in the past. So they had built a relationship with some of the artists in the past, which was great, whatever. And so they were actually looking to reimagine Splash Mountain at Disney World and Disneyland, and they wanted to, I guess, change the theme in honor of Princess and the Frog. So the new park is going to be Tiana's Bayou Adventures, and the release date of when this park is going to be revamped and released to the public is slated for fall 2024. 2024.
Right.
Okay, and so how I fit in that is there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes at Disney Imagineering Studio. I mean, it's amazing the stuff I learned, just doing my own research and some of the stuff they talk about that they have to do in order just to get a park redesigned or
Right.
ride. In this case, a ride redesign. They have to go on site, visit Louisiana. They have to go visit people, talk to people. There's some people behind the scenes creatively. Well, where I fit in is they actually contacted me. They're looking for ideas on how this ride, when you're on this ride, the visuals, what you see when you go on these rides. So they needed ideas, they needed inspiration. Of course, they have their own artists, right? They have their own in-house designers, but they need someone authentic to New Orleans. So they decided, you know what, let's call Yaya. Let's see, they're in New Orleans, in the heart of New Orleans. Call and see if they have some artists we could kind of work with, to get some ideas. So in the process of doing that, they came upon one of my pieces or two or whatever. So the director, Yaya, showed them my work or whatever, and they instantly was like, okay, we like this style, we like this work. Who's this artist or whatever. So that's how they were able to locate me and find me. They liked my style, they liked the movement, they liked the colors in my work. So that's what they liked. So they contacted me. They wanted to know would I be interested in doing mood sketches. I've never done mood sketches before for anybody else other than myself, my own work. So I got some mood sketches for each of the themes in the ride that they're revamping. So in the course of doing the mood sketches, they were like, well, we may consider doing 1 to 2 or 3 commission paintings of that mood sketch if we like it, if that's something we want. So it ended up being that they liked all of my work and all the sketches. So they were like, we're gonna do all the paintings. So that's how that. So they was like, we want you to do the mood sketches, but then the artwork for the commissioned artwork for in honor of the actual Princess and the Frog. Okay, so these are inspirational pieces that were inspired. It's very stylized. It's my style because I'm not a Disney artist. I'm Art by Sharika. I'm my own artist. What they do is they have artists that do work that was inspired by a particular Disney film. So I'm happen to be an artist who's actually doing my interpretation of Princess and the Frog. And so where pieces are going to go, I have no idea. I know I'm excited. The sky's the limit. I will keep you posted because we will meet again if we need to, so I can share that because everything is work in progress. But I do know that they really, really found inspiration from my work. And that to me is invaluable. And I'm excited.
Look, right? It's like, okay, at this moment, you're like, okay, I know I'm a painter, I draw, I do what I have to do, but, for a big break like this, I mean, it's just not your first big break but for another big break, it's just like,
this is a big one.
What's meant to do. Right,
yes.
right.
Yes, this was a big one. Yes. And it's hard. It hadn't sunk in like it probably should. For a lot of people, they're so excited. But I think for me, it's humbling too, because, it's like, wow, that, you don't know when your season is, for certain things to happen in your life. You think Disney, you think of youth, you think of childhood, you think of young people. Here I am, I'm in my 40s and I got this particular project, up against other people who were much younger in their 20s. And here I am, African-American woman, which I love the fact that I'm representing, African-American women with Tiana being an African-American Disney princess, being from New Orleans. Like that to me just makes me smile to know that I'm part of that. I'm part of that journey to represent New Orleans with my artwork and to know that I have a small piece, which is still a powerful piece of that, of the whole idea of a park or of a ride.
Look, and I'm a huge fan of Princess and the Frog, so I'm just like, look, I really can't wait. I can't wait, and that's gonna be one trip that we're gonna have to come out there and see Yes, yes. I want to see it. I want to see it. Like, I want to take pictures in front of it. You know, get something, anything. Like,
You
yeah.
got doggone right. Yes, yes, that's gonna be amazing. So I'm looking forward to that. So I'm excited about that. And that's something my students, I've had students from my first year of teaching. I've been teaching, this is my 9th year. From my first 2 years, contact me when I got featured in one of the newspapers, and I was on the news. They were like, "Oh my God, Miss Marty, I can't believe, oh God, you're so talented." And it just gave me so much joy when I hear back from students and my family, of course, of them just being so surprised and so happy. And so that's a good feeling.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. I'm pretty sure it is. Cause I mean, think about it. Like I said, all the hard work, the effort that you're putting into it is all paying off. It started paying off before, but now, like you said, like you in your 40s now, and this is something that you think about. They could have had people that was younger. They probably had like a different kind. But your artwork, what y'all will see in the video, she has amazing, amazing artwork. Let's talk about that guitar. Okay, let's talk about the guitar. How long did it take you to do the guitar? Because when I saw it, I was just like, so she did a guitar. Like,
What's so funny? I still have the guitar. I'm not sure whether to sell it or not because it's a long story. I'll tell you off camera about that. But the guitar is available. So that guitar didn't take me long at all. Actually, one of my customers, one of my collectors, she actually gave me the idea for the guitar. And she gave me the guitar to paint. And I was like, my goodness. And I don't know, I have to find out where it's actually got the guitar because it wasn't with a finish. It didn't have like the glossy finish. It was like wood. It's like dry, just basic wood, like primed or whatever. So you could just paint directly on, which I love that. I didn't have to do any prep work like talking about it. But I would love to get maybe a few more of those and just paint. I actually, because that's what I paint in my work a lot. If you look at my work, guitars and saxophones are all in my work. So to actually paint on a guitar was like no brainer. Like, okay, girl, you know, you do that. But I'm glad you saw that. I'm glad
yes. I saw something else too. The bracelets that you did the painting on.
Yeah,
I told
I've been asked to get back into the bracelets or whatever. So I just did a bracelet for one of Tyra's friends, one of my sister friends, Daphne. I think her name is Daphne. She contacted me. I didn't know how I knew her, but she's like, I did. You did bracelets years ago, and I wanted to know if you still did bracelets. And actually, I'm not, but I am thinking about it just because I've gotten some requests from people back in the day, like, hey, need to do some more bracelets. So I'm thinking about getting back into doing the little hand bracelets or whatever, my little wooden bracelets.
Yeah, that'll be dope. That'll be mad dope. So when I saw it, I was like, the bracelets, like what? Like, oh, come on, man. Like, it's like, look, God dog, if she can paint on it, she will.
Yeah, anything. I painted on kitchen cabinets. I painted on rugs. I painted on stools. I painted on mannequins. I painted just by anything, any surface. If it's pliable, I paint it. I paint a blind if you want to paint. I painted doors to people's houses. I painted cribs for babies. I painted tables, like large tables. So yeah. If it has a surface, I probably could paint it.
Yeah. That's a mind blowing. My mind is blown. It
Love
really
it.
is.
And the more unique the surface, the better,
Right. Oh wow.
But of course, I tend to do canvas flat surfaces majority. But
right.
I just still love my just paint on canvas. That's just like my baby. But I'm open to doing whatever.
Right. As long as you got your money right, then she got you. Okay, she got you.
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, as for what is like one of your main goals for your art? Like, where do you really want to see it? Like,
All over the world, worldwide, everybody gets exposed. I don't really care. I used to be like, oh, I would love to be famous, but as I'm getting older, I'm like, that's not important to me. I'd rather be more impactful, rather just make a difference and be somebody that make a difference in the world. And if that's through a visual medium, to impact people, to heal people, to make people want to do right and do better and see the good in others. If my work does that, then that mission accomplished. I'm excited about that. I do want to, of course, have my own collection of children's books that I write and illustrate, picture books. I do have several stories that I've written over the past 5 years. Just been kind of looking at it, putting it off, looking at it, getting caught up in other projects. But it's one of those things. It's talking to me now. It's like, okay, it's time. It's time. It's time. So I've done a couple of book illustrations for other people, but never mine. I never solidified mine yet. But I do have a character and some story themes in mind. So I definitely will be working on that soon. But that's where I feel like I will be doing that. I will be doing children's books for sure.
Right. Don't ease up off of her, okay? Keep it on her mind. Keep it on her mind to get those books.
That's my children. Those are my children. It's like my students in class. I don't have children, so hey, I have to manifest creation in different ways,
Right.
And that's my creation, has manifested through my art, through my talent.
Mm-hmm.
So the books, right, manifested.
Right. So if someone just wanted you to like just paint them like me, if I want you to paint me just sitting here, would you be able to do that?
I mean, I'll be able to do it, but I don't like doing portraits like that. It's to me, it's too. I mean, I'm not I don't like to say what I'm not. I can do whatever you ask me to, but my thing is, if that's not what you see in my portfolio, then chances are I'm not. I mean, I prefer I do a stylized version of you in my style. I get that all the time from different people. They'll see my work and they're like, oh, do you do people? Do you do portraits? Do you see portraits? Did you acknowledge what I have first? And it's like, acknowledge what I have, and then let's make the request, and then I'll work with you. You know what I'm saying? Now, there are people, like even my brother, he's really good at doing portraits. He's really good. He don't really pursue it as much, but he's much more patient. Me, I'm very hyper. I like to get stuff done in a fast pace. I'm very whimsical in my nature, so it manifests, it shows in my art. I like to show a lot more movement, a lot more abstract interpretations of the form. So if I do, it'll be more like a caricature of you. You know what I'm saying? Without being a caricature, but like more of a version of you. And I've done that. So yes, when people ask, do I do portraits? I say I'll do a portraiture or a stylized portrait of you. And stylized is basically my style of you. So it won't be like I took a picture of it and did a filter and made it used the paint filter where it looks exactly like you. I probably won't do that type of portrait where it's like it's like real. You got those hyper realist artists who are phenomenal. Hyper realism is awesome, and there's a lot of artists on Instagram and TikTok that really showcase some of that talent. That's an amazing talent. But for me, it's just not what I enjoy doing. I don't. That's a little much for me. I'm a little more free
freestyle.
Than that. But I can. But I choose where I'm
right.
Because for a while I used to feel guilty. I just would do the job just because I don't want you to think that I didn't know how to do it. Whereas now, no, I'll give you what I want to do and what I know, because the branding is everything. Who I am is always everything. And if I did everything for everybody, then I would never be defined. I would never have my thing that I do that makes me
like your
special,
style.
unique. And there are plenty of artists who do a lot of different things, and those are the kind of artists you would want to get that from. If you want an actual portrait, like a portrait, realistic painting.
Right. And her style, it's like no other, honestly. Like, it's really not like no other. Like, when I tell y'all, look at the videos, the pictures in the back, make sure y'all watch all the way to the end, because I'm going to have some of those as well as, like I said, the guitar, the football. I'm going to have a few pictures of her artwork actually in the video as well. Also down in the description box below, I'm going to have her website, her Instagram, her Facebook, everywhere that you can pretty much find her. And make sure y'all purchase her paintings, Like, you won't be disappointed. Y'all stay on Amazon buying stuff all day. Like, why not just buy a painting, something that's gonna really set your house, like set it up for you. Because I mean, not only does her painting just paint, it also have meanings behind it. And it has that real, true, like she said, authentic New Orleans flavor to it. So you guys, y'all, look, don't sleep on her, okay? Don't sleep on her. Look, so you could actually do a painting with someone else, like as for, like just anyone particular that you have in mind, like role model as for painting wise, who would it be that you can do one with?
Do like somebody who I would want to paint.
Yeah, like do a painting with like somebody, like let's just say like a role model, somebody that actually sit up there and encourage you to continue to push forward. And they was like, okay, how about we doing a drawing together? Who would you like that to be?
Does that person have to be an artist too, or just be anybody in particular? I'm not sure.
Both. Let's do one with artists and one that's not an artist.
Not sure. That's a tough one. I never thought of that. That I would sit and do a painting with. Aha! Somebody big and famous who's also an artist. A couple of people, there's a couple of musicians that are also artists. Like we know, like I think Beyonce is an artist. I would sit with her and do a painting. Or like Chris Brown, who's an artist. I would love to sit with him and do a painting. Michael Jackson, rest in peace. I would have loved to sit with him and do a painting. Right? Or basically any of my siblings. Any of my siblings who never really saw me actually draw or paint. Come on, get a canvas. Let's paint. Let me show you what I do. That would
right.
That
would be cool. Can will you invite me? I want to come.
Yeah, you come, of course.
I can't draw a straight line, okay, but I'm saying, come on, let's get to it.
I'll come up there and have a paint session.
Oh, look, we about it, okay? I am about it because so I did like how they do with the painters, but also with the poets. Like while the poet is speaking, have you did the drawing on the side as well, like collaboration?
I'm a private painter. I've done the live painting live before, but I kind of shy away from those. I don't like the painting in public too much. No, it's the introvert. If I'm not those are very lucrative. People they go to weddings and they sit there and paint the bridesmaids and stuff. I've been asked to do stuff like that, but it was never anything I was interested in. I think I would probably be a little bit anxious. A little bit, it'd be harder for me to really focus. I could, but I prefer to be like in my own space.
Yeah, I mean, nothing wrong with that because it's all about your comfort zone. Like you actually look. I would be in my house, okay, and I would sit up here and do whatever I gotta do because I'm comfortable. Not only that, but there's nobody asking me no questions. There's nobody distracting me. This is my focus. Yes. And we were talking about that earlier too, about you doing something that you really love. It's not just you putting in the work, but it's also meditation for you.
Yes. Yes. I like to look at art as a form of meditation. Any art, whether it's culinary arts, whether it's performance art, and then visual art, it's a form of meditation because you're allowed to escape, right? And time and space is all disappear sometimes. I used to be able to sit down and start painting, the hours would pass. And I'm like, wow. How many hours pass? Can't do that too much no more. I get cramped, but for the most part, that's what it does when you're meditating. You're escaping, right? That's why it's important. Whatever you do, you put good intentions into that thing you do. And if you're a visual artist in particular, what you paint matters. And that's one thing I hear a lot of people talking about. What you paint matters more, just as much as painting what you think others want to see. And just painting stories. Stories are good, stories are impactful, and stories are necessary. But be mindful of the stories you tell yourself and others in your work, because those create your reality. If you really look at it like that, you could actually. I don't know. I find it to be very powerful. The only reason why I say all that because I read a lot of these self-help books, a lot of these spiritually aware type books and stuff like The Secret, all that stuff. Like I know this one passage in The Secret, it was about this man. He was an artist. It was talking about the law of attraction. That's my thing. I'm all into the law of attraction stuff because I could testify that it's real. As far as the law it's totally real, the law of attraction. And he was painting in his painting, it was, I believe, of a solo, him by himself. Or I think it was him or a woman, but it was solo. And he was wondering why he was so lonely. He never could find the love of his life until someone told him you should put somebody in the painting with that person, like draw people together. And sure enough, but add those elements in his paintings. And then he went back, checked back this artist later, and he was married. and with children. He was doing well for himself. But that was the story. I can't remember what chapter it was on, but that caught my attention, and it opened my eyes as an artist. I never thought about that. I never thought that whatever I painted, just like musicians, whatever they write, writers and artists, when they write songs, art imitate life. You're breathing life into that experience. You're breathing life into that imagery. So if you're drawing wicked and dark imagery, what are you going to manifest in your life if that's all you're doing?
Right.
So it just depends, because you got all kinds of artists that are doing great things and are real successful. And it may not be, positive, but I think there is a link between what you paint and your reality. I really do think so. Or you can really set your intentions that way, right?
True.
You can set your intentions that way.
True. You might not work with stick people, because I told you I can't draw. So I'm just gonna have to, do what I can do with it.
You can make your own version of stick people. They have all type of artists that make you'd be surprised. There's artists that's I don't know any off the top of my head, but I'm sure there's artists that do stickly type people and
Right.
probably doing very well for themselves. So
Yes.
don't underestimate the power of the stick person.
True.
Make it
True.
work.
Yeah. Yeah. I never looked at it that way. I never looked at it that way. You.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I like that. I like that. 'Cause
Yeah,
like you
because
said.
art is not all about aesthetics. I was always one of those people that thought art had to be pretty. Art had to be pretty for most people. It had to be skilled. It had to be refined. It had to be detailed. It had to be realistic. If it wasn't realistic, it's not real art. That kind of thing. But guess what? Over time, contemporary artists, pop artists, you got all these different movements that took place in Europe, all over the world, that say, we're going to buck the system. It's not about being hyper real. It's not about being realistic. It's about deconstructing things, right? And making things look disjointed, making it look deformed. And people gravitate towards those type of abstract images. You think about this artist named Basquiat. Look at him. He was a young artist. He passed away at a young age, but he's from New York, I believe. And his work is amazing. And you look at it, you're like, oh, look at Basquiat. You might really, what, that's inspiring. Sometimes it's about what you're trying to say with color. What are you trying to say with lines? It's not about connecting the lines and the colors to make it look like a real thing all the time. Sometimes it's just abstract. It's about the feel of it, the feel of the colors, the feel of the lines that tell a story. And people gravitate toward things that make them feel a certain way. Not so much that it matched my sofa, it matched my rug. That's a particular type of collector. Then you have the people who want the art. They want the story. They're attracted to how the artist uses the paint and the technique. So if you have stick figures, find a way. If you really want to do stick figures and tell a story with it, and you do it and you spend time and years on it, you're going to have your own story with your people. And you call them something.
Right. And you actually answered my next question, because I was like, how people, they purchase art because, it looks good with what they have, but it also comes with different feelings. Like you can tell, like, okay, this person was heartbroken when they painted this, or, like this person, they was mad, or this person was having happy thoughts, like that type of stuff like that as well. But I also saw, I'm going to need you to, I'm going to get it. The portrait of your family when they were sitting at the table, I believe.
Yeah, I did that a long time ago. I was really taking my art seriously at that time. It was like, I forgot what he called it, my siblings. I think it was called my siblings. Where I had all five of us, 5 of us from my mom and dad at the table, because we ate together growing up. For the most part, we were mama and dad said, "Come eat." We all ran the table.
Look, right.
We all
Come on.
eat. Whatever. And then there was always a story at the table. Of course, dad was always the strict one, talking while you eating and all this stuff. Of course, we find a way to sneak her and say something crazy. Then I had a sibling. She had her thing with a certain type of spoon. Oh my God, she had to have a special circle spoon. And she will cut up if she didn't have that circle spoon. So in that painting, which I could give you a picture of, I should have a picture of it somewhere, of that spoon. I put a spoon in her hand, and I had another sister that was obsessed with green peas, and so I put two little peas in her little plate, on the picture or whatever. Then I had my head turned because I'm the oldest, so I'm always telling on somebody, trying to tell them something, a telltale or whatever. And then my brother was on his thing and all. So I tried to put a little bit of personality in it. And it was one of those spontaneous paintings, and I never realized how impactful it was as far as showing how I was in the household and my families and paying homage to my siblings. So I have to do another one day. But I love that.
Yeah, that picture means
My
like
mom,
it shows a lot because I mean, think about it, that's a family sitting together eating dinner. Everybody, might have their own little thing going on, but it was that one time where y'all actually had that chance to come together as a family and like, okay, but look, it's time to eat. So everything else put aside, this is family time. So yeah, like you
yeah.
said. And I never was a peace girl. I always like trying to put them underneath the table or something, put them in my mouth. I gotta go to the restroom, it's just something I couldn't eat. I couldn't eat. That's crazy. When I saw that art, I was like, okay, yeah, she showed out on this one. She showed out on this, especially the one that was sitting in the and I think what was it, a high chair?
Yeah, that was the baby, huh?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know her back was turned, but I couldn't put it though. I had to do it like I had to do it. But she had the big hair though, because she had the most hair.
Right.
Yeah, I try to put that in there because she had some long, pretty hair, Lord.
Look, right. So I mean, being the oldest out of all of your siblings, like, what did that teach you? Like, in the process of.
It teaches me responsibility. They say the oldest is usually the most traditional, the most conservative, all this kind of stuff and the third. Some of it true, some of it not. I had a lot of responsibilities at a very young age, so I valued my time as the oldest. I had a lot of more responsibilities, but I'm glad, I got a chance to get to know my siblings before they knew themselves.
Right.
I like my youngest sister. Like I knew her when she was a little baby. I remember when she first started walking. I remember she was bald head for a long, long time, and she would just sit in my lap, and I would play with her for hours at a time. And I remember she first started walking. I remember all the good stuff. I remember my brother's the only one. He was closest in age with me, so he's the only one I don't remember. But all the rest of them, I remember when they were either in my mama's stomach or born. So that gives me a different viewpoint when I look at it from like a bird's eye view. Like I'm looking at it from different vanishing point. Like even though I was little, I still remember it. It made a big impact to know that wow, I have another sibling, that I'm responsible for, basically.
Yeah.
I'm responsible for him in a way.
Right. Good. Did it come to that point to where everybody just blamed everything on you?
Oh yeah. Like, oh Lord, yes. Dishes, any responsibility. They call us the big horses. I mean, who that was that calls the big horses? Me and my brother, but I think he got a little more slack than me sometimes. But yeah, the burden always got placed, of course, on the oldest siblings, and of course the baby. Get that all the blessings that, all the things, material things that we didn't get. We didn't get name brand growing up, but the youngest, she can't say that because she got name brand stuff. I didn't get that, like I didn't get that. Mom and daddy was
that explains a lot.
Yeah, I didn't get no name brand, but I would come home from college like, oh no, but she got the latest and greatest, I mean, she throwing it up. Oh, I'm like, must be nice. So that's good to see that though, because I knew she was a baby, like she deserved that. Like I was like my baby sister, his baby sister. So it's good to know that they had better than me. Although I would have liked to have had some of that, but then my personality, I wasn't really into it anyway, so it worked out. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I mean, but that's also show that, what I'm saying, like, hey, mama and daddy, they did what they had to do for us back then, but now they doing better, so that way it's like, okay, I see my little baby sister there, like my little sisters, they getting these name brands, so come on, let's get them in. Look, y'all wear the same size. Let me borrow them pair of shoes real quick, like, hey.
Exactly. Yep. Yes. So that's definitely a blessing having siblings. I am glad I have siblings. Now, I wish we were a little closer, but we get
there. Right. And you said you've been an art teacher for 9 years, correct?
My 9th year. I can't believe I'm saying 9th year. Yes, 9th year. Wow. Yeah. So yeah. If you would have told me 10 years ago that I would be teaching at one particular district for 9 years, I probably would say how. I was like, oh really? Oh, that's interesting. Right. So it's amazing how God works like that in your life. I love it though, so that was a blessing. It's a blessing. It's been a blessing. So
Right, right. And you graduated from LSU, correct?
Yes, I went to LSU right after college and got my
Mm.
undergraduate in communications and my graduate in communications as well.
Right, right. It's just like continue on, like education after education. So you went straight to college after high school, correct?
Yeah, well, right after high school, I went to LSU. Well, I went to St. Edward's in Austin, Texas, my first year, and I transferred to LSU, got my undergraduate, and then I went on straight after to get my graduate degree right after.
Right. Like I'm not about to waste no time.
Yeah,
Let's,
yeah. I didn't have nothing to do. I mean, really, like I had nothing really planned, not really lined up, like talking about it, you know. So I'm like,
right.
well, I'm about to go back. Why not?
Yeah. Education. Look, I'm trying to look. When there's nothing else, got dog, you go back to learning something that you never learned before, or master in what you already
Yeah,
learned.
I felt like I wasn't ready yet. It was like I still need some more. So I'm glad I did that though.
Yeah, more knowledge, more knowledge. Always be ready to accept more knowledge. You know, for one thing.
Yes. The LSU
I
was
love learning. I love researching new stuff. Like that's just what I do because it's just like okay, the fact that nobody told me, I actually researched it. So now the fact that I researched it, I'm going to remember it because I have time to to read it and to
you took
to
the
go.
initiative. Yeah, because you took the initiative. And that's how I was learning. I'm like, I'm always learning stuff. I'm always learning about stuff. I love reading and learning and watching videos and learning. I love that. Like I'm always
Right.
one. And it's so good with the computer. I call the computer the phone. It's so awesome because I can think of something. And I'm like, back in the day, you couldn't do that. You had to go to the library and have your card ready and all that. Now I can just go on YouTube. I go Googling, and then I've been and learn. Like 30 minutes later, I'm like, I'm more intelligent. Like I know, and usually I get more than one source, right? And you get more than one. So I like to get 4, 5, 6 sources to see if something. Like I was looking up sweet almond oil. That's so great. Sweet almond oil, like stuff like that. Like I want to know about sweet almond oil. So I
What do you do?
sweet almond
Now
oil.
you want to know.
Yeah, like I want to know about this essential oil here, and I wind up researching it, and I go on another site and just basic stuff like that. Like, I mean, anything. Like I'm a health nut to a degree, so I'm always looking up something about a particular herb, a particular stone. I like crystals, collect crystals. I'm always into the crystals.
I need to get the big ones. I have my, but I don't have like the real big ones. See, I have that.
Yes, I'm always looking it up. I'm always looking up stuff. It can be politics. I look up about this particular person they're talking about in the news. I want to know. I just want to know.
Right.
And I like the fact of getting information and learning that way and reading as well. So yeah, so I think that's the plus about having the phone and the internet and at our disposal. Just that, of course, young people have to make sure that they are safe using the technology because there's almost too much information available. You know what I'm saying? Like
Exactly.
That balance has to be there. So as a parent, my heart goes out to them who are, have to deal with making sure they constantly monitor their child's intake of information online.
True. And then it's crazy because it's like I've always been a spiritual person because like I said, I'm a pastor's kid, so like me growing up has always been there. But now me branching out to like crystals and meditation, I haven't felt so much better in my life. Like it's like don't get me wrong, Jesus Christ is the one above it all. But when it comes down to like me, just actually settling myself, like that kind of thing, of course, I would go to meditation. Like, okay, cool. Like I said, I have my crystals, I have my sage, I have my candles. Like, I got the whole setup over there. Okay, the whole setup. So it's just like, what have changed since you started getting more into meditation?
Well, I can say it has changed my life totally once I started, and I can truly say I did like a 21-day meditation. I remember it was in 2012. I was trying to manifest. I worked on my first vision board, had the car I wanted, had the money I wanted in my account, had everything. And I started to meditate because I really felt like at that time I needed to make a change. I needed to make a change. I need to be still though. I need to make sure I prayed and meditate. And I started studying all kind of stuff, numerology, all kind of stuff. I started meditating and learning how to meditate. And I can tell you, After that 21 day, I say 30 days, everything started lining up. This is how it attracted me to my first car that I actually wanted, Mercedes Benz. I started getting this. It was the exact same car. I didn't even realize it. Realized that after I got the car, my screensaver on my laptop was the exact car. I didn't even register. It didn't even dawn on me because I didn't intend to get the car that day, but I had to. It was a choice I had to make because of the car I had. But when I got back home, tears because I opened up my laptop. I didn't think I did it the same day. It was like days later. I went to the laptop and it was the exact same car. Job. I mean, I wanted to know about money, income. I wound up being a teacher. I got offered that job right time. I had to dissolve a relationship, and it wound up being the most peaceful transition of a relationship. I'm really blessed with that one. That happened with the breeze, and everything just started opening up. Everything, artistic opportunities. Once I started getting into just being still, my meditation, and just being in touch with myself, visualizing and just praying and being thankful, showing gratitude, all those things. And I really, really think I've truly started to evolve. Really, once I started understanding the power of prayer and meditation. Prayer and meditation. There's a couple of prayers that I have because I don't subscribe to any particular religion, so I kind of take pieces from everything. It's like as far as the abundance, there's an abundance prayer that's going around. I've been following that abundance prayer for now about 10 years. That abundance prayer has been a godsend. It keeps me grounded. It keeps me thankful. There's the prayer of Jabez. It's a powerful prayer for Christians, because I know in my heart. And when I need it, I pray it, and sure enough, because I'm intent. You got to be intentional with that prayer. Yeah, that prayer has changed my life. So many things that I've done on a spiritual level that has propelled me to where I am, and it helped me evolve to be more kind to myself. Because that's the thing, is being kind to yourself. Yeah, and really being and love yourself. I say love yourself. It sounds so cliche. Oh, love yourself, but it takes work. Yeah. It takes introspection to really know, what does that mean to love yourself? What does that feel like to love yourself? Does that really, really feel? You can say it, but what does it really feel like? What does it mean? So that's thing you got to do. You got to do the work to get to that place where you understand and become enlightened.
Of course. Oh yeah, most definitely. Because I mean, you got to think about it. Like, you can say that you love yourself, but are you praying for yourself constantly? Like, you know what I'm saying? Are you feeding yourself positive words? Are you, are you fighting those demons in your head that's saying that you can't, but on the other side, you got the other part that's saying that you can? Like, are you going to overweigh that? That type of stuff like that too. So like we was talking about earlier too, it's all in the power of the tongue. Whatever you speak over your life, it manifests. It's like, whether it's good or bad, and it might not happen right then and there, but once it approaches, it's going to come to you like, oh dang, I did say this.
Say, why don't put a spell on yourself. You can put you can like say spell. When I told you the word spell, it's nothing more. What does that mean when you talk about words? Spelling. You create spells when you put words together, and you speak it with a certain intention. You create your own spell. That's all it is you create spells on your own self. You say, I can't, and in your subconscious mind, limiting beliefs about what you can't and can do and can't. You keep saying can't, and why it's keep happening, because in your subconscious mind, it's been implanted there. Usually it starts from childhood. A lot of those limiting beliefs start when you're a kid in the household. When you hear parents, friends, and you just hold on to that belief, and you don't realize that that's making you operate in a certain way because you have a limiting belief about yourself. Right. And it's always speaking to you, because I have to catch myself sometimes. Something will crop up, something negative, and I'll say, I go, leave that alone. Forgive yourself. Just forgive yourself. Just
they're like, hey,
don't do that.
Get on about my brain, not today. Nah. What we about to do is we about to make sure that we try to manifest everything that we want in life that's gonna benefit us. We're not about to sit up here. We're not about to downgrade ourselves. We're not about to have these negative thoughts. Yeah. We about to sit up here and we about to get some stuff done. Okay. Look, yes, I'm today. Yes, I'm gonna have the house that I want. Yes, I'm gonna drive that car that I want to drive. That I'm gonna be.
Keep that going, because in the back of your mind, you can get no damn car like that. Yep, you gotta ignore that. Ignore that garbage in the back, because just keep claiming it. Just keep claiming it. no matter how outrageous it may seem. That's because it's like you have a committee in your head, right? Committee of voice, right? You're like, oh, I'm gonna get that, I'm gonna get that. You're back, girl, how you gonna get that with the money you got? I'm gonna get that. You're gonna get that. Really? Now you know last time you got a little memory from the back. You know you got that going on simultaneously while you try, but you constantly battling like who's gonna win, right? Who's gonna win? You want that vision, you want that positive reinforcement, affirmation to win every time, and it takes work. It don't happen overnight. You got to work at it. Everything you got to work at your mind and your intentions, because you got family members. You could be having a good day and you talk to family members, and all of a sudden you caught up in you like you were your old self. Like, whoa, I got caught up in all this, and you have to be like, whoa, and that's why you got to isolate yourself sometimes. Yeah, because a lot of them haven't evolved. Let's keep it real, you know. And so you're evolving, so the conversation's gonna feel different. They're gonna feel different.
Yes,
because
you're
you used to. Yes.
Right. Yeah, everything's gonna change. The friends that you have, you're gonna realize that you really want friends. Y'all just had certain habits in common with one another, so that's what kept you really around to chill with them. Not only that, but like some people don't want to see you grow. They are happy seeing you the same level that they are. Why? Because they're not going anywhere. Cut that out. Cut that out. No. If you want better for yourself, do better for yourself. If you want, think better. Write it down, make it plain. Just like you speak it out your mouth, write it down, make it plain, and hang it up on the wall, and just leave it there. You're not gonna realize that you actually manifest everything until it starts falling into place, and then you're gonna go back to that.
It always sneak up on you again. I have a quote on my wall in my handwriting. I wrote it when I was not in a good place a few years ago, and I have on the wall to this day. I look at it. I am the only one responsible for my days. Some spirit told me to write that. It's in my handwriting. I'm gonna take a picture of it, and I keep that on my mirror. So when I'm feeling like the world is against me, or I'm not having a good, I read in my handwriting. It typed it, nothing. My handwriting, blue ink. I am the only one responsible for my days, and that keeps me grounded. Gets me right back. Get right. You know what? I can't. You know what? Why am I blaming them? What? I mean, no, it's me. I'm responsible for this. You know, and it helps. It helps. So that's my. So make up an affirmation, use that, whatever, to help you stay centered, because it's easy to get out balance. Depends on energies around you. It can be people at work, it can be family members, it can be anybody, a relationship, whatever. And you got to constantly remind yourself. It's not one of those things you can take the training wheels off and just go. It's never. It's just a work. It's a lifelong work. It's lifelong. You constantly in and out of your mind. And you're trying to stay grounded, trying to keep keep your chakras lined, right? That root chakra, stay grounded, right? And but yeah, I love all that. When it comes down to learning and discovering all that stuff, and I feel like this new age we're in, that I believe in this age. A lot of people don't believe in that. That's totally understandable. I get you, but I'm all about the spiritual arts and the science behind it all. Whatever. I think as a collective, as a country, we are going through an awakening. I see it. I think we're going through awakening. There's going to be a lot of stuff happening to really awaken the humans on this planet. We got to wake up or lose.
Yeah.
The collective.
I'm gonna make sure I type that in. Either wake up or lose. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. Yeah. You're gonna see that slide up the screen.
Yeah, either wake up or lose out, because this is the time we're in. This is we're at the what you call it? We're at the brink of something really happening to shake up the dynamics of how we live our lives. So we have to be ready. We have to be ready for it mentally. And there's gonna be a lot of people that's not ready.
True.
Because they haven't gotten their spirit together, haven't gotten their mind. We're operating in 3D. If your mode is always the 3D in the material world, you're gonna freak out. So it's a work in process. It's a work in progress, But that's what I try to do with my students. Just try to keep them grounded and positive, because there's a lot of negativity these kids are faced with.
Right.
A lot of negativity. Ooh.
Yeah. And this coming from every which way, from the grown-ups to thinking they're grown, the process of growing, to the kids that's younger than them, but also trying to grow up into the teenagers. So you getting it from every which way. Like, nobody's perfect, you guys. So whatever it is you're trying to do, that you're trying to perfect, keep working at it, keep going. You're going to grow. Negative feedback isn't always worse feedback, because they'll let you know, okay, well, look, if they see it, then cool, maybe I can look at it the same way. So let me see if I can work it like this too as well. So I mean, it's like you said, self-criticism, because I do it too. If I don't like it, I'm gonna stress about it until I get it right. And I might stay up all night until I get it right because it's just something that I wanted to do, and I was hoping that it came out perfect. But you gotta understand, it's gonna take time. It's gonna pay.
That's okay to have standards for yourself. It's okay. I do it too, but at least you're working toward, you're doing action. You're taking
Right.
the action to better yourself. And yes, we are human. We're going to have those emotions. It's just whether you stay in those emotions.
Right.
Nothing wrong with having anger. Nothing wrong with having those type of emotions. It's just a matter of knowing when to turn it off, when to use it in constructive ways. So if you're angry about getting something right, guess what? But use that anger to motivate yourself to do better. Don't just sit in anger and give up, because then the anger is not being used properly. So it's what you do with that anger. It's okay. Those emotions are there for a reason. Just people use and abuse them and don't get help and don't know how to get out of it. They get stuck.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's when you get up here.
Yeah, they start messing with that brain.
You stay up here. You don't know whether you want to go left or right. You don't know if you want to turn around or jump, because it's all about, you know what I'm saying, you not really figuring out exactly what it is that you want to do, or this is where you gave up at. No, figure out how you can make it better. Figure out how you can, you know what I'm saying, how you can move to the next level in whatever it is that you are doing. If you need some help, reach out to people. There's nothing wrong with reaching out to people. Nothing wrong at all with reaching out to people. Yeah. Because, like you said, you got some things and you giving people the blueprint, you know what I'm saying? Because you don't already went through it. Yeah. Like, hey, I understand this is where you was at, and I was there too. I just passed that, so let me show you what I learned. Yeah. Let me show you what helped me get past it. Now it's up to them to either take it or not.
Yep, that's it. You have a choice. At the end of the day, we all have a choice how we want to live our life. And you got to be motivated to make the right choice. That's why it's so important when we're raising kids to instill those values in those young minds while they're in their formative stages. Because, as you get older, you get a little more fixed in your thinking. So it becomes a little harder to penetrate that unless you go through some type of traumatic event that enlightens you. Because sometimes some events are there to enlighten you, traumatic events. Others, it brings you down further. But it's all about getting these kids while they're young.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, with all of that being said, you guys make sure y'all hit her up. As y'all can tell, look, it's the knowledge, it's power. She has it. Okay, she has it. She has art as well that you can purchase, of course, a website and everything. But I'm gonna let her go ahead and do her drop so that way she can tell you how they can find you. Your website, of course. Like I said, I'll also have everything down in the description box. But I would like for them to hear it coming from you as well.
Yeah, so if you're looking at to start collecting some of my artwork, I do have a lot of print options available. I have a few originals on my main website, artbysharika.com. I do have a link to a few originals that I have. I also have prints available on fineartamerica.com, where you can get cups, mugs, cell phone cases, yoga mats, all kind of stuff, towels. Definitely check that out. I just got pillows. The pillows are gorgeous. If you want to check those out, we got those as well. But definitely, if you can communicate with me directly, if you want a commission piece, a custom painting, or whatever, just let me know. Hit me up. If you need advice, hit me up as well. Yes, artbysharika.com. And you can look up my name. Just Google. If you forget everything, and you can't, just Sharika, Art by Sharika, or Sharika Mahdi. That's my first and last name.
And like she said, you guys can find on Google, type it in, it should pop up real quick. She's not playing no games. She's not playing no games. Yes. So I want to thank you again and again and again and again. I appreciate you taking the time to actually sit down and talk with me about, the journey and everything that's coming up as for new projects. And I can't wait to see it. I cannot wait. I cannot wait at all.
I look forward to sharing it. Thank you so much, Ray. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Dreamhouse TV.
Look, we on the rise, baby. We on the come up. So make sure y'all please like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Ding! And every time I upload another video, you guys will be the first one to get it. I really appreciate y'all tuning in. Like I said, like, share, comment, subscribe. And we'll see y'all next time. Right?
Oh my God. You're gonna know me more than I know myself.